all of y'all join in case all of y'all are having any technical difficulties. Before I introduce your next mentor to all of y'all, good evening to everyone in the chat. I hope everyone's Saturday is going well. Want to know how many of y'all are actually watching the match versus paying attention to this masterclass? Because I'm sure all of y'all are busy. Split. I see someone's already said me. Good to know. We will wait for another minute before I introduce your next mentor to you, and then we shall get started. A quick question in the chat though, till everyone joins. Who do you think is going to win today? Any thoughts or ideas? Ma'am, even you can participate.
Yeah, I have to be able to know who's playing first. I am very out of touch with cricket. Once in a while, I'll watch it, but I'm not a huge fan. So
We now know that New Zealand is one side because and the other one is Pakistan, as we can see
okay,
the chat.
New Zealand for sure. Poor team. Pakistan team hasn't been doing very well. Poor things.
Before we start a war in the chat, I'm going to pause the chat.
Yeah, unfortunate thing is Pakistan's team hasn't been playing very well throughout. No, they've had a very rough time of it actually.
I
So
keep very
yeah.
little, but I know that today is a match because I know students are like distracted. Okay, let's get started. Welcome once again to your Skills of the Future Masterclass. With me, I have another mentor of yours. Her name is Shilpa Singh. She is the head of student engagement at Mindler. She is a coach with a flair for human storytelling. You'll soon find out why I'm saying that. And is an instant hit amongst hundreds of students. She has more than 22 years of incredible work experience in career guidance, life coaching, HR management, and teacher training. She brings a holistic purview of the entire education and skill building spectrum, right from schools to organization. Her youthful energy, don't get cheated by her looks. Trust me, she is much more young than all of us over here. And her bubbling enthusiasm are highly infectious and make learning a very fun endeavor with her. I am going to give it over to her, and she can take over before I come in for announcements at the end. Over to you, Shilpa ma'am.
Superb. Thank you so much, Mansi. Thank you for that introduction as well. Good evening, everybody. Good to be here to be able to talk to you guys and be able to get some input out on skills for the future. Very interesting space, actually, that we need to think about. So, when you're talking about skills for the future, remember, you're not talking about something that's going to be 10 years down the line. In fact, more than ever, we're realizing that the future is actually happening as we speak. Okay. And in today's day and age, more than ever, the future is happening as we speak. So your preparation for the future begins as like immediately. And the cool part is that you've already set the foundation for this. So that's the great part of it. So let's talk about the importance of skills. Okay. Now let's talk about what is it that we need to be able to plan for the future. But before we do that, I would request that we have the chat open for just a little while so I can have a look and see what our thought processes are on this. I want you all to think about and imagine somebody who you think of as very successful. Okay. And I want you to be able to think about that success piece, whoever it is. It doesn't matter. It could be a historical figure, it could be a business figure, it could be anybody. Think of somebody who you think of as this is who I think is very successful. I would urge you not to think about the success only from the perspective of XYZ has a lot of money. That may be one byproduct of their success. But I want you to think about who you think of as successful. And I want you to think about what do you think are the skills that made them successful? Okay. Whether they earned money out of it, whether they've ended up earning fame out of it, whatever it is. So please go ahead and kind of open that up for me to see. Jeff Bezos, Abdul Kalam, great. So tell me, brilliant. You've got some super people there. Now tell me the skills. Tell me the skills of what you think these people have. Analytical risk taking, critical thinking, problem solving. Wonderful. Finance, critical thinking, discipline, compassion, confidence, leadership, the hard work, good leadership, patience, innovation, passion, determination, great. Consistency. Ooh, I like that one. Confidence, smart work. Okay. Management. They manage things better. Continuous practice. I like it a lot. Honesty. Superb. We've got some passion for doing something in the world. I like that. We've got a lot of interesting skills that have gotten written down. I'm just going to quickly scroll up to be able to see if I have been able to pick the one, or if any of you have mentioned the one that I'm thinking about. And communication, no, critical thinking, problem solving. Oh, some very interesting things. Interesting. Nobody said 100% in boards. Very interesting. So, therefore, what ends up becoming super important for us to realize is yes, the academics matter, but there are a whole bunch of other skills that come either through your academics or other areas that also matter far more in determining someone's success. Now, the reason the academics matter is one, I want to be able to explain that before I go to the other skills. When you are good with your academics, I'm not saying you have to be a top. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But when you are good with your academics, you live up to your own potential, you do really well, or you try your best at being able to do well academically, you open up the chances for you to be able to get into a really good college or a university. When you get into a good college or a university, the advantage you get over there, apart from being able to study what you want to study and all of those other things, is the fact that you have now given yourself an incredible platform and an incredible way of being able to have a very strong network. That strong network is going to be the basis of your being able to do so many other things in life, whether it is being able to get resources, connecting with someone, whether it's being able to utilize the alumni from an institute, whether it's being able to get opportunities, whether it's looking at internships, whether it's looking at placements. A strong institute at your undergrad level makes a very big difference to set the right launch pad for you to be able to go forward. It is just to be able to ease your life, right? So therefore becomes very important for us to remember that our academics matter. But as you have shown me, there are a lot of other skills that make an immense difference as well. Nowhere ever do we ever look at somebody and say, XYZ person is a genius at something, but they're rubbish with people. We should make them the leader. It's going to be really great fun. You look for people who are going to be able to do other things, to be able to carry a team forward, to be able to go forward. Now, Elon Musk is not really great with a lot of other things. He's made a lot of money. He's great at innovation. He's done all that. But we've seen with X and the way that he handled situations at X, that caused a lot of problem. It has given X a major hit where you had a major drop in terms of how many people were utilizing X now in terms of before. So that whole aspect of being able to have a whole bunch of other skills makes a very big difference in terms of how successful you're going to be in the long run. All right. And those are the things that we want to talk to you about today. What are those areas? You've covered some of those. I'm very excited to see that some of you have already covered some of those areas. I want to be able to walk you through to help you understand the rest of those areas so that you are able to kind of look at it and say, okay, these are the spaces that we want to be able to explore and be able to build. Okay. So Mansi, may I request you to be able to share the presentation if that's all right with you? Let's go straight to, yeah. So what we need to be able to keep in mind is by 2025, which is about a year and a half, when there was research done over the last few years, what ended up coming into the picture was that 50% of all employees who currently work in the market, who are currently right now working, are going to end up needing to reskill themselves. That's half your population of people who are working who need to be able to reskill themselves. And over the next 5 to 10 years, now when we're looking at it over the next 2.5, 3 to 5 year time frame, all of the people who are working right now, about more than 40% of them are going to have to be able to change and work on their core skills that they require. Now, what that means is increasing their knowledge about things, being able to learn new areas, being able to work on new knowledge so that they are able to keep themselves relevant in the workplace. All right. That's the one element. Now, as in 11th and 12th grade, what are some of the things you can do to make sure that you are ahead of the curve? First thing that you can do is start picking up things that you think might help you in the long run. What kind of things will help you in the long run? maybe your online course on analytics, introduction to analytics. I'm not asking you to get into hardcore data analysis. Look at a communication course, look at a course on writing. But I've got Chat GPT. Why do I need to be able to learn how to write properly? Chat GPT will write it for me. Just because I have artificial intelligence does not mean I need to stop using my own intelligence. One of the key skills and one of the key jobs that's going to be there in the future is going to be that of a prompt engineer, to be, or somebody who needs to be strong on communication, to be able to write the right prompt in order for you to get the AI to do the right thing for you, right? So that's going to be an important skill to be able to build. Now, I want to be able to think about some jobs. I want to know about some areas. I have a couple of careers in mind that I might be thinking about. Maybe I know one particular career in mind that I'm thinking of, and I've already decided that, right? So I don't need to worry. Actually, it's a really great idea for us to be able to have a scientific way of being able to pick up what is it that we need to be able to work in. Okay. Now, in order for you to be able to get input on careers, some of you may have got input from, say, Mindler, where we might have come to your school, or you may have got input from your parents or your family members or a sibling or someone else who's giving you information. What ends up happening there is inherently there is a level of bias that comes in when you're trying to be able to make a career decision based on other people's opinions. You may have your own thought process as well and say, hey, listen, I decided ages ago what I wanted to do and I'm completely clear about it. Outstanding, super. That's no problem at all. What we do need to be able to, however, ensure is when you're looking at being able to make your final decisions, that you're doing it in as scientific a manner as possible to make your life easier. Nobody else's except yours, right? So as part of your a part of your internship, I think, and I hope you have an assessment that you do. That assessment becomes a very important part of what you want to be able to do. The assessment will measure you on different parameters and will help you be able to understand how you can make a very scientific decision about your career options. So one element is my being able to understand what my career interests are. The other aspect is what are the skills that I have already that I can improve. So there will be certain skills that are going to be highlighted to you already. And what are the areas I might need to work on? In addition, there are going to be other skills that you're going to work on. And we're going to do this continuous process where there's going to be a baseline of skills and we build from there. All right, let's move to the next slide. What ends up happening when we're trying to be able to learn new skills? Okay, how much time am I going to need to devote to this? And do I need to do this immediately? There are some things that you can do that can work side by side along with your academics or your internships. Your internships are a great way of being able to learn certain skills. So for example, if you're trying to be able to learn things like writing or being able to get into things like how do you understand people or doing a base introduction course of being able to build skills in terms of being able to handle a team or do it, those areas, those take about 1 to 2 months for you to be able to build. If you're getting into more technical areas like computing, or you want to build areas like data analysis, or you want to have a better understanding of AI or have a learning related to AI and technology, you're looking at anywhere between a 2 to 5 month period of learning time that you have to be able to invest. Why are we talking about this and explaining this to you now? So that you know that on a continuous basis, your curve for learning can range anywhere from 1 to 5 months. Okay. The steeper your curve, that means the faster you learn something, the easier it will become for you, the better it's going to be for you in the long run. So if you are in the habit of continuous learning, you are going to have a much easier time in the work world as you go forward. The work world for you will actually not begin when you start working. Your work world will begin for you in college. Okay. So when you go into college, you're already starting your work world because you will do internships, you will work on projects, you will do collaborations between departments, you will work with professors to help them. So your work world and your foundation for getting a job, paying job, are going to get started off in college. So these skills, you can keep continuing to work on them while you're in college and being able to continue to build your resume. That's what ends up becoming really important for us to be able to keep in mind. All right, let's move to the next slide. Now, what are the skills that we are going to look at in the future? You've all mentioned, a lot of you mentioned critical thinking and analytical thinking. Critical thinking and analytical thinking are all about being able to ask why. And if this, then what, right? If this is the situation today, what are the possible things that could come out of it? So letting your imagination, your creativity, your knowledge, your reading, all of that also inform that decision of if this, then what? That's analytical thinking and critical thinking. Critical thinking is also very important from being able to understand another perspective. Do not be only stuck on one viewpoint. A great leader and a great critical thinker and people who are very successful in handling teams, in handling people, in inspiring people to do different things are those people who are able to understand multiple perspectives. There are different ways of being able to look at a problem. That is critical thinking and analytical thinking coming together. What does that lead to? If I'm able to look at multiple perspectives, if I'm able to ask if this, then what? So we've got a war happening right now in the Middle East. We've got a war happening in the East, in the Europe, previous European Union with Ukraine and not European Union, sorry, your USSR with Ukraine and Russia. We've got those elements. What are the impacts? What are the possible impacts that's going to happen on a lot of different industries, from aviation to tourism to oil and gas to infrastructure to supply chain management to overall in terms of climate to economics? What are the impacts? If we're able to connect those dots and think, what is going to happen 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Your critical thinking and analytical thinking shoots up. When you are sitting in an interview and you're able to then have a conversation with the interviewer about this, you're going in definitely getting hired for that job that you're looking at, because they're going to say, wow, this person's being able to look at all of these areas and therefore are able to understand what will be required for complex problem solving. When you are at a job, you get paid to find a solution. Nobody pays you to find out a problem or to be able to point out a problem. I can't say like, oh, this is a problem. And you come to me and say, yes, this is a problem. And I say, oh, thank you very much for telling me this is a problem. Here's 5,000 rupees. Well done. Nobody gets paid to point out just what the problem is. We get paid to find solutions to problems. So complex problem solving is very strongly based on being able to have strong critical and analytical thinking. So that ends up becoming a major area. But how will I continue to have complex problem solving skills, or how will I continue to build analytical thinking? By continuous learning. If I am reading variety, I am reading different sources, I am going ahead and reading different viewpoints, I am reading multiple newspapers, multiple types of articles to understand this is one view, this is the other view, this is another view, right? We get to be able to read from multiple perspectives. I may believe A, you might believe B. There could be another person who believes C, D, E. To read those different perspectives, to learn about those different perspectives without judgment, with an open mind. That active learning is going to be a very important element of your skill building ability. Okay. With all of those active learning, with your critical thinking, with your problem solving ability, the other element that we need to build is being able to utilize creativity. Now, AI is going to end up doing a lot of work that's going to be mechanical in nature. So anything that requires, put a stamp on this, I'm going to put 5 stamps on this. This is going to be a very mechanical kind of role. AI will take care of that because it's just going to make life easier to have somebody else just quickly do that research for me. Where does it that I come into the picture? I come into the picture when I get to use my creativity. I get to use my innovation. I get to think about an original way of looking at a problem. That is where my creativity comes in, and I'm able to then build a better solution as we go forward. You all have, and I'm very jealous of all of you, because the amount of data, information, and access and ease of access you have to data is mind-boggling. No generation before yours has ever had this much information and this much access to information ever. All right. And at the speed that we have it. So what you have is a huge amount of data that comes your way. But the problem is you have a huge amount of data that comes your way. So being able to use technology effectively, to be able to monitor it, to be able to have that, apart from financial literacy and everything else that everybody talks about, technology and media literacy, to be able to understand what is fake news, to be able to have that critical thinking to say, is this real? Is this true? Or should I look at multiple sources? That is where your critical thinking, your analysis comes together for you to be able to handle technology better. I really feel very strongly that all of you should also find ways of where you're able to take breaks from that technology, allow your creativity to be able to flow, allow yourselves time when you get bored. Please get completely bored. The reason why we want you to get bored sometimes is when you're bored, you'll come up with a really creative answer. If you are staring at Instagram reels only, there's going to be a problem. I'm asking you to be able to do your Instagram posts and do your reels for your internship and otherwise, but be able to allow yourself 1 day a week, 1 hour, 2 hours where you are leaving the technology behind and doing something that is analog, that is more basic in terms of nature without technology helping you. It will really help you build very strong skills as you go forward. Why do you need that? Why do you need that ability? Because one of the key aspects that's going to come forward as you go forward, and this is actually a life skill that's required, is resilience. All right. We will not always get what we want. We will not always get what it is that we planned for. Things will not always work out the way that we want them to. As you are, those of you who play sports or you play a musical instrument or you dance or you do any artwork, etc., it doesn't always work out the way you want. You don't always win every match. You don't get every step. You don't catch every note. You don't do it every single time. But you go back and you do it again, right? So when you look at it, you try again, and you fail better. Those are the aspects that need to be strong. I will hire somebody any day who has got exposure to dance, music, theater, sports, because I know that they understand that not everything will work out. So they're going to be able to handle a setback much better than those people who have not built resilience in their system. We will always face some setback or the other that might happen. It could be working on a work project. It could be on a project that you're doing in college. It may not always pan out the way you want. Maybe at the last minute, something goes wrong. The ability to bounce back from that is what is important. So resilience becomes important, as does stress tolerance and flexibility. Flexibility comes from having an open mind. Flexibility comes from not carrying judgment, not saying and having bias. Oh, all people who are like this are do this. All people from this part of the world are like this. People who are this gender are like this. When we're bringing in our biases, our flexibility becomes zero. When we allow ourselves the ability to have an open mind, we're flexible. We're able to then attract more people to us. We're able to influence more people. We're able to have stronger leadership ability. And that ends up building our ability to work with people. Nobody is going to work as an island. You will not work in isolation, no matter what area of work you get in. You will always work with people. Leaders are people who carry people with them. They are the ones who understand everybody is different, that everybody has different ways of needing to be able to have something explained to them or work in a different way. Each one of you has a different style of being able to work. Your future bosses will hopefully understand that. If not, you will be the boss who will understand it for somebody. I had this done to me. I don't want to do it to somebody else. That ability to be able to build and work with people is absolutely critical in your success, because you may switch organizations, you may start a company, you may do anything. People will stay with you if you are able to inspire them and you're able to show them that you understand, you're able to listen to them, you're able to empathize with them, and you're able to help work with them to be able to find solutions, and you're able to foster creativity. All of you are going to be leaders in industry tomorrow. All of you will have positions that you will hold in organizations at different points, where you will be either in part of a team or leading a team. You will either start your own organizations or work in companies where you will move to leadership positions quickly. That is going to happen because you will showcase resilience, you will showcase creativity, you will showcase leadership, the ability to inspire people, the ability to listen, the ability to be able to learn on a continuous basis. That's what's going to set you apart. Not if you're getting XYZ score or if you're cracking one paper. That's not going to be what sets you apart, right? When we have problem solving, ideation, creativity, we look at the ability to work with people. What becomes critical in that whole process is to be able to handle ourselves well, right? So self-management, my ability to understand my own emotions, to understand and label my emotions, and to know that all my emotions are valid emotions. We go through anger, pain, jealousy, irritation, frustration, joy, happiness, sadness, all those emotions. None of those emotions are wrong. All our emotions are valid. But I have to also be able to know, how do I express those emotions? How much control do I have over how I react? Am I losing my temper with randomly with people because somebody else fought with me and I didn't have the ability to deal with the conflict? So I avoided it. And then now somebody else is getting it from me because I couldn't tell the person who actually upset me that they upset me. Right. So being able to understand what are my boundaries, where is my self-management coming? Why is it that I matter? and you matter immensely. Your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings, all of those are extremely important for you to be able to hold yourself in value, to be able to say, what I feel, what I want, what I matter is important. I will help people, but I am going to also have boundaries so that I am not getting trampled on, and I'm not feeling like, oh, I keep doing things for people, but nobody understands where I'm coming from. Be able to draw those boundaries to be able to understand. So our self-management becomes extremely critical. Now, all of you are learning all of these skills on a regular basis: negotiation, problem solving, creativity, analytical thinking, the ability to lead, the ability to influence, your creativity, your people management, you're working with people, your self management to a large extent as well. You are learning all of this right now, and you're learning it in school. Okay, and you're learning it in the most important period there is in school. So I'm going to request for the chat to be opened up very quickly for me to understand from you. Tell me which is the most important period in school, because you already have all of these skills in you. You're already learning them. Now, let's open up the chat. Which is the most important period? Which is the important period that you're learning all of these? You're learning all of these in the period in school. You are already doing it. High school, 11th and 12th, yes, middle school. Tell me which period. Computer skill development. Okay. Psychology. Wonderful. Okay. Work ed, psychology, sports, psychology, maths, sports, life skills, imagine minds, robotics, writing, accounts, sport, free period. Okay. And what CS, computer science. I'm still not getting the most important period. It got said. It got said. Pause it. It got said. It got said. Nishchay Bedi, well done. Lunch break is the most important period in school, and all of you are learning these skills in lunch break. How are you learning these in lunch break? We are going to play a variation of the game that we have been playing every single day: creativity and ability to think out of the box. Oh, so and that one have had a fight. Let us go and try and fix that and help them sort that out. Let's get them to talk to each other. Wonderful. Complex problem solving, listening skills, working with people, influencing people. Listen, don't worry. I will go and talk to the teacher about how we can get an extra period to be able to go practice for dance, leadership, and social influence. All right. Oh, we didn't win that match. Yeah, we came back from that match. We haven't won. Don't worry. We're going to practice again. We're going to do better. Resilience, right? And the ability to be able to handle stress and flexibility. You are going to be able to come back into class and you're going to be able to say, sir, ma'am, aapke paas doggy hai? Oh, what does the doggy do? What is the doggy's name? What does the doggy look like? Do you have photo? 20 minutes of class gone. Creativity in action. All of you are learning these skills as you are in school right now. In break, when you work with each other, when you have arguments with each other, when you solve problems, when you go and talk to a teacher, when you go and take part in your assemblies, you are learning all of this, but they come to you most in break. That is where you learn these critical skills. So when it comes to looking at these skills, don't look at it from the perspective of, oh, now I have to learn all of this. I'm going to have to learn so many things. What am I going to do? You've already got them. You've already got the basis for it. Why are you worried? All we're saying is we're moving them up to a different level, man. We're just pumping them up to be able to take them to the next level. Simple. That's all there is to it. We're not worried about, I have to start from scratch on all of this. No, you don't. You're already doing all of this. In your other subjects also, you keep getting exposure to all of this information, right? You're getting exposure to when you write papers, or you go ahead and write an essay, or you read a paper, you read part of a chapter. You're doing this. My request to all of you is, immaterial of what board you're from, it does not matter. Whenever you're reading something, question it, ask why. Think, what is the author thinking about? Think, what is the viewpoint this person has come from? What is it that's made them think this way? Am I going to be able to have time to do so many things? When you get in the habit of being able to do it, it becomes an automatic process for you to be able to then analyze and move forward very quickly. So don't think about this. This is a muscle that you work. Skill development and working all of these skills is like working a muscle. The more you work it, the better it becomes. The more you do it, the more you create the neural pathways in your head to be able to solve. How do I build logical thinking, creative thinking? What will I do with this? How do I build that? I will sit there and have to do analysis for everything. No, read a mystery novel, watch a mystery movie, try to figure out who did the murder. That's going to be a great way to build analytical skills. You're trying to figure out who done it, who's the murderer, who did it. Read, watch movies, do all of those areas, right? I have to build creativity. How do I build creativity? I'm not somebody who knows how to draw or do music or dance. What am I going to do? No problem. Let's think about looking at something from a different perspective. Okay. So let's try this as a trick. I want you to be able to cover one eye. Just cover one eye for me. All of you try and do this as an example. Okay. And I want you to be able to stare at the screen. So the world is going to look a little bit different to you. Cover one eye. You're going to see one part of your room and your screen and your TV, and your eye is going to try and be able to take in everything in it. Okay. Let's look at the world there. Great. Now let's move and let's cover the other eye. Now you're probably going to see this side a little bit more than you did that earlier. This side has now become a little bit more fuzzy. This side's become clearer probably for you, whichever side you're looking at, right? So if you're looking at this way, what you just did was simply change your perspective. When you look at it through both eyes, you get to see the whole picture and see what some different elements are. Very simple experiments can be happening in terms of us changing our perspective. I'm getting stuck in a way of thinking. How do I change my perspective? Simple. Say, lie down on your bed and look at the world upside down. Okay. Climb up on top of your bed carefully. Climb up on top of your bed and look around the room and see the room from a different way. Sometimes all you need to do to solve a problem is change the way you look at it. If you are getting stuck, I get stuck with word problems. I get stuck with maths problems. I'm not being able to solve this problem very easily. No problem. Change the language of how you're learning it. For example, if you are looking at history or mathematics or geography, any subject, draw a flow chart instead. When you draw a flow chart, you change the problem language of how the problem was being done. From word, you moved it to image. You're now creating boxes to say this and then this, and you say, aha, now you're able to see what's missing or what is the aspect that you want to be able to look at. So sometimes being able to change our perspective is one of the biggest spaces that we can step into to be able to build our analytical thinking, our creative thinking, our innovation, our problem solving. Sometimes just changing our perspective, reading variety, reading different aspects. Those of you who don't read as much, I would urge you, please read as much as you can, because the more you read, the better you speak, the better you write. It's going to be a very critical for us to be able to have people who are able to write effectively as we go forward, whether it is for AI prompts or for you to be able to do your papers in college. You need to have effective writing skills. Okay. AI is going to have a lot of impact. You're also seeing there's a lot of pushback happening in creative arts, in writing, in other areas towards AI taking over everything. We can't sit there and be in the space where we are letting somebody else do our thinking for us. Secondly, anybody who's interested in studying psychology, sociology, or being able to look at public policy or looking at the civil services, think about a world that is going to be far more dominated with technology. Our requirements, our policies, our ability to deal with people who have that much exposure to tech, all of that is going to change and be requiring us to be able to now navigate a world that is driven by so much more technology. All of you, your generation who is out there, is so amazing and so cool when it comes to having an open mind, when it comes to learning, when it comes to questioning, when it comes to being able to want to be able to create spaces that are safe for everybody. I am in awe of people who are your age, because I wish so much that so many more people of my age would be like you guys, where they're accepting and open and understanding of things. It's almost as though you are naturally built that way. And it's beautiful for me, which tells me you are going to have the abilities to be able to solve a lot of the horrible, horrible problems our generation has created for you. And I apologize to all of you for the problems we have created for you, that we are expecting you to be able to fix, including climate change, including diplomatic, geopolitical situations and diplomatic relations. But I also have immense faith that all of you have the skills to be able to do it. These are the skills you need to be able to build so that you can come up with the great ideas to be able to solve problems that are big and seem unsurmountable right now. Those of you who will start your own businesses, those of you who are going to go into climate change and sustainability, environmental science, technology, psychology, sociology, architecture, creating content, being comedians, being actors, being social media influencers, looking at music and art and creating beautiful art and poetry, all of you guys are going to make this a much better world for us to live in. And I'm counting on all of you to be able to do that, right? So this is where we want to be able to look at when we're looking at skills for the future and building those. Okay. So those were primarily the areas I wanted to be able to speak about more. Let's move to the next slide. So what we need to be able to remember is, say, for example, in terms of artificial intelligence, there are two camps. One that says this is the best thing that ever happened to us. The other that says this is the most horrible thing that ever happened to us. Inform yourselves of both sides of the equation. Do not be afraid of artificial intelligence. Learn about it, understand it so that you can use it as a tool to make yourself more efficient. Okay, let's move to the next slide. You also need to be able to remember that when you are working with teams, you need to be able to understand how is it that your teams are going to be made. The fact that you are going to be people who are going to be part of teams. So understand your strengths, understand what am I good at? Am I good at research? Am I good at creative stuff? Am I good at writing? Am I good at being able to put the presentation together? I'm great at being able to present as long as someone else has done all the work. I'm good at being able to organize, plan, create a structure. Bring your strengths to the table. When you walk into a team, talk about the fact that these are my strengths. What are your strengths? Let's capitalize and work on our strengths. When you are coming into a team where you've got 5,000 people and you're all trying to be able to be the best person, it's not going to work. Ask people their strengths, play to your own strengths. All right. And be able to create teams that are then very, very efficient. Bring one person who's creative, one person who does the research, one person who does this. You have a small, tight team. You're able to do really well. Okay, let's move to the next slide. You will also need to remember that our ability to be able to do continuous learning is going to be the key aspect for us to be able to continue to grow. So reading, watching are going to be great ways for you to learn, but watch variety. We're not always going to only watch what a wow. Okay, we're going to move beyond what a wow. So beautiful, so elegant, looking like a wow. Apart from the looking like a wow, we have to watch other things as well. Documentaries, we have to watch things that are going to make us think, things that are going to make us feel bad. We go, oh my goodness, what is happening in the world? We have to learn, we have to watch movies, we have to watch different genres. We have to be able to do that continuous learning, doing online courses, being able to do all of those. You have to be able to have those aspects as well. All right. Now, I think we have one more slide that comes in after this. Okay, but the one thing that I do want to be able to share with all of you is simply this. I share this with almost every batch. This is what I live by. And this is what ends up becoming what it is that will end up creating a template for success for you in a lot of ways. This is a quote by a really brilliant author and poet by the name of Maya Angelou. Okay, so if you look her up, she passed away a few years ago, but she was brilliant. She was brilliant in what she wrote, and she was a poet. All right, and her what she said was, and this is what I live by: people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. All right. And if you're able to make people feel like they matter, that they're important, and that they are valuable in their opinion, you will always be successful. Whether it is in your teamwork, whether it is as a leader, whether it is as a business titan, whether it as the next great startup that happens, whether it's working in an organization, be mindful that empathy and that understanding what people feel is very important, right? So that brings me to the close of the major stuff that I wanted to be able to say. Mansi, anything you would like to add from your exposure and experience would be wonderful for everyone to know as well.
I think it was a great session to just understand how much scope there is to kind of grow, and we don't have to always stay where we are. I think your session might have helped them give that extra push. I would just like to say, I will, of course, tell you all what the assignment is, but for people who, I'll come back to it. But before I tell you all what the assignment for today's class is, I'm going to open up the chat for a few questions. We have a few minutes, so I'm going to open up the chat. So if you all have any questions for Shilpa ma'am, this is the best chance to, get them answered. Again, I will keep opening the chat and closing it so that, we don't get very overwhelmed. So if you have any questions regarding skills of the future, any questions you may have, go ahead, put it in the chat. And for the next few minutes, she will be answering them. And okay, we already got a few.
Wow. All right. Can I suggest some books? You should, when it comes to suggesting books, I love books. Okay. It's like an addiction. I cannot control, which is why it's very difficult always for me to suggest books. You should always read something that you like reading about or you might be interested in. It's the only way you'll build interest, right? It's like, if you really like a particular sabzi and you tell me it's really good, but I don't like it, I'm going to be like, well, I'll take one bite and then I'll be like, no, not happening. But if it's something that I want to try myself, I'm more likely to stick with it. So think about think about things that you like. Read whatever you like, man. You like sports, read about sports. You like music, read about music. You like horror, read horror. You like fiction, read fiction. You like non-fiction, economics, history, biology, chemistry, whatever you like. Read whatever it is that you enjoy. You want to read about Bollywood and Hollywood, read about that. But you got to continue to read. What are the skills to be developed for now? So some of the skills you're already working on, which is your academic abilities, as well as some of the skills that you're already doing, your teamwork, your ability to work with people, your ability to be part of different areas. That's how you can continue to be. You're already developing and working on those skills. How to improve self concept? Well, a lot of ways to be able to improve self concept is to be able to journal. A great way to be able to kind of understand yourself a little bit better. Super practice to do that. To gain self confidence, to know that you already have something amazing you bring to the table. Whatever skill it is that you think you're good at. It could be music, it could be maths, it could be dance, it could be whatever it is. All right. You need to be able to understand what your strengths are. And that's when, you're able to be able to build the confidence in it. That, listen, I know I'm good at this. And I'm going to try and be able to do that. And I'm going to work on what my strengths are. The more I work on my strengths, the more I work within my strength area, I'm always going to be more confident because I'm not suddenly doing something completely out of my comfort zone. Does experience matter? It can, yes, over time. Like, for example, if I'm a cardiologist, I'd rather have an experienced cardiologist than a one that's like fresh out. If I'm going to get a tattoo, I'd like to be able to have a good experienced tattoo artist who does my tattoo for me, not someone like, right? I don't want to have a problem there. So experience will matter. And over time, we will look at people who are going to be able to blend an understanding of experience along with new ideas. So don't worry about it. Right now, it may seem like everybody has experience and I don't, and they are asking for this experience. You will soon have experience too. Don't worry about that. What is the best way to develop empathy? Well, the fact that you have asked that question means that there is empathy within you, which is a good thing. To be able to understand that there are different perspectives, that what might be important for me may not be important for someone else, and what might be important for someone else may not matter for me. But what we need to be able to remember is what is important to me may not be important to someone else. So I need to be able to listen to what's important to them. Okay. How should we think to find an answer? Well, first and foremost, be able to look at what you're reading and read it carefully, or what you're watching and watch it carefully. Be always able to look at multiple sources. So look at different viewpoints, different videos, all of that, and to be able to then look at those multiple sources and say, okay, based on 5 different people's opinion, these are the possible thought processes that people have. And I'm going to try and figure out what is my belief or my thought process in that. So that's the best way to be able to start going about looking at how to find an answer. How do we deal with rejection? Being able to understand that rejection is nothing more than somebody else's missed opportunity to deal with you. More, more problem for them, not a problem for you. Secondly, that if you have faced rejection in one area, no problem, you'll succeed in another. What is the problem? ये नहीं तो कुछ और सही, something else will work out, not to worry. What do you think are the 3 top skills for a person? That's tough. For me, it has to be empathy, being non-judgmental, and the ability to be able to know what your strengths are. Those are the skills that matter. I think that are the top 3 in my book. Good question. All right. Let's go. I'm going to scroll up because everything's running away from me. Self-confidence I have covered. Academics more important than developing skill. Academics and importance and skills are both important. We don't do only one. We can't say like only roti is important, sabzi is not important. Both things matter, no? So when we want to have a good meal, so both things are important. How to deal with fear of proper communication issues? Practice. And if you make a mistake, so what? You made a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake. I got stuck. I fumbled in the middle of speaking. I'm not like, oh my God, I can never speak again. I'll never do another master class. Oh, I'm not going to do this ever again. I fumbled. It's okay. Make a mistake. You move forward. That's all there is to it. How to be consistent and disciplined. Understand what you want is your goal. How important is your goal for you? And is that goal important enough for you to be able to sacrifice certain things for it? Whether it is watching the latest next Netflix series, or being able to watch, your latest shows, or be able to go out partying. Is my goal more important? Is partying more important? right? And when you're able to build that, when you get that answer, you'll automatically be able to figure out what is it that you want to do, right? How to build experience at our age for chosen career path. So what you want to be able to do is during your breaks, any breaks that you're getting, you want to be able to do an internship. That's a great way of being able to build exposure and experience. So this internship is one step. You can always do internships with other areas as well, like say with an NGO or with a startup or anything else, lots of exposure. So this is one way of building. How do you manage your time while learning different skills, working and developing relationships? Great question. So how do you manage your time? You don't do everything at the same time. You can possibly allocate days. You can sit down and think about how many hours you'd like to be able to, or how many minutes or day time in a day that you want to be able to do. Where is it that you can do different things? Where, say, for example, while I am taking a walk, or I am doing something mechanical like cleaning my room, can I be listening to a podcast which does not involve my reading or writing something, right? And so then that can be something that helps me manage and do more than one thing at the same time, right? That can be that can be something I do that a lot. Like I listen to podcasts while I'm doing um, mechanical work like laundry and walking around and doing my walk and all of that. How do you lead an unmotivated team? Well, it depends. You ask them what is it that they want to be able to achieve, and first and foremost you try and understand why are they unmotivated, what is causing them the problem, what is making them so miserable that they don't want to do something. And once you are able to get that answer, you'll be able to find the solution on what is it that might fix the problem for them. So that is one great way of being able to work that. How do we choose a career when we're confused about our interests? Outstanding. That's what your assignment is going to be about. You are going to be able to do the assessment, which will help you. And that's going to be a big thing. How to deal with jealousy? Recognize the fact that whether someone is jealous of you or you are jealous of someone, this is absolutely natural and normal. You are going to have to do that. What we need to remember is it's okay to be jealous, to be able to understand it's part of human emotion. But what we need to be able to remember is that everybody's journey is their own. You are competing against yourself and not anybody else. How to develop critical analysis? Reading and exposure to variety of thoughts. So by able to read different articles or books, those will be. As a commerce student, will I be able to pursue any science in the future? Actually, all your areas and all your areas of study are going to be multidisciplinary in nature. So as a commerce student, you may end up working in an organization that is driven by science. So building knowledge and information about science will be a good idea for you. Will you be able to do hardcore science? Maybe not, but you'll still be able to kind of give the input to be able to do other areas that might be related to that. All right, let me go back up. Scroll. Important aspect to look at when you think about what do you want to do. You want to be able to think about your interest. You want to think about your aptitude. What is it that you're good at? Where are your strengths subjects wise? What are the things you enjoy doing? And being able to build information and knowledge about an industry, or being able to build knowledge and information about careers. So being able to utilize tools like we have at Mindler, we have the career library and things like that. So being able to utilize those tools, that's a great way to be able to build knowledge. Aspect you look at when you think about what you want to got that. As a leader, how do you deal with failure? To recognize the fact that not everything will always succeed, and that as a leader, you're not supposed to work with the process of I should have had all the answers. You be able to recognize you're a human being, and when you are able to recognize your vulnerabilities, you are able to obviously deal with the failure better because your team will stand with you. How do you make a choice when you are at a crossroad and situation is like choosing between two evils? Oh, then you want to be able to think about what is the requirement that you have at this point of time and which evil is going to suit it better, right? And then you pick that evil, but you make a very conscious decision knowing that I'm doing this for this reason. That way you don't go, why am I doing this every single day? You don't get hassled. You choose it for a reason. So think about your reasons. If I've got a team of people with totally different mindsets who work under me, how do I get them to work together to cooperate with each other? Well, you need to be able to find out what are the things that they have in common. So you can sometimes get people to be able to have just a conversation in an offline mode to be able to figure out what they have in common, and then they'll see the common points there. And the one thing that they have in common is they're all on the same team. So that's the first common point. How do you build good communication skills and be more positive? Best way to be able to build good communication is to be read. I will always say that. How do you end up becoming more positive? Well, you end up remembering that there are different outcomes and everything. Something that doesn't work out, maybe the space for something better to be able to come in. And remember to be realistic. we don't need immense amounts of only positive thinking. That's also unhealthy. You have to be able to understand realism, right? But to be able to know that there is always another way, that there is always another option and another route. That's what allows you to be able to have problem solution. How can we change the way we think? By exposing yourself to different people who come from different thought processes. That is the first way. How to continue working on your goal when you feel demotivated. Remind yourself what your goal is and remind yourself that it's okay to take a break sometimes, and be able to give yourself that place to be able to recharge, and then be able to say, okay, I'm back on the game to be able to see how I'm going to do better. Is it possible to have strength in one area, interest in another career field? What career should I choose in that case? Well, if you have the interest, you have strength in a particular area, there is going to be careers that are going to be open to you in those strength areas. So the best way to do is start with educating yourself so that you're able to make the right choices, right? Okay, good.
I think we have, I don't want to open the chat because I feel like it will keep going on, and I think the questions will never end. So I think we have picked up a good amount of questions. I hope you all I am sure you all are very happy and satisfied with the answers. But if you all feel you all have more questions, you can write to us and I will share it with Shilpa ma'am, and we can see how she can respond to them. Now, coming to a few exciting things, I mean, this entire masterclass was exciting, but of course, we have to give away some rewards. That seems only like some amount of fair work that all of you all have been doing. So, from batch 2, I would like to congratulate Natasha, Lakshika, Ishika, Vaishnavi, and Swati. All of you were on the leaderboard and are going to get a reward from us for the great, outstanding work you've done in creating a social impact and networking. From batch 3, I would like to congratulate Anshika, Hadika, Pragya, Omkar, and Mahi. Even you all have done a great job in being able to convince your friends as to how exciting this internship is. I am sure you all have also been enjoying the same. If you haven't already been on the leaderboard, do not get demotivated. There is a long way to go before your internship gets over. There's a lot of time for you to do that. You know what you can do. You can convince your friends. You can talk to them about it. Coming to this masterclass assignment, we spoke about something very exciting. So today's assignment is actually going to be an assessment. It is Mindler's very well-known assessment that we want you to do, where you will understand your best career matches. You will also be able to identify your strengths, your preferences, and what are things you need to improve on, right? So the assessment may seem really long, but trust me, it is going to help you in the long run. How are you going to possibly take that? On your dashboard, you will see something called scholarship. Over there, you will see something called the Mindler Career Assessment. Go ahead and do it. So there are 6 different dimensions that you're going to be tested on. So be it your leadership quotient, your personality, your aptitude, your emotional quotient, your interest, and your work style. Remember, all of these are, let's say, only one of this is timed, the rest of it is not timed, but I would say just take your own time, do it well. I'm sure Shilpa ma'am will also give you all a few tips to make sure your assessment results are the most apt. But I'm going to just hand it over to you. But remember, once you do the assessment, it's going to help you identify your best 5 fit careers, basis which you can go behind and be like, okay, let me from these 5 pick 2, and now basis those 2, let me think of what are the skills I need in the future. Ma'am, if you have any tips for the students.
Yes, I do. One, first and foremost, do these when you are rested. Okay. Second, do not give me socially acceptable answers. That means, say, for example, there is a question that says there is a slice of cake that you want, that's your favorite cake. Your friend is coming. There is only one slice left. Do you A, eat the cake slice quickly? Do you 2, hide the slice so that you can eat it later? Or 3, do you share it with your friend? The socially acceptable answer is share it with my friend because sharing is good, etc., etc. And so if you do not really truly feel that way, don't press C. If you truly feel that way, that's a separate story. But give me your honest answer about things. That's what's going to help. Nobody is going to be able to see what you answered. That way, Mani, I'm not going to be able to come to you and say, Acha, you don't want to share cake. It's not going to be like that, right? But we're going to be able to at least have a real picture. If you are honest, you get right answers. If you do this honestly and properly, seriously, it is eerily accurate in explaining to you, as well as being able to give you the options you can explore. And you have to have plan A, B, and C in place so that you can plan for the future better. So that's one thing. Second, the aptitude part of this assessment is a timed assessment. Each section is also timed. Do not pause the assessment in the middle of the aptitude section. Do not log off. Do not do anything else. In all the other areas, you should be able to stop and pause and take breaks. So my suggestion would be do 3 sections on one day, take a break, do 3 sections on the other day. Do the aptitude section when you are rested, have a spare sheet of paper with you and a pencil because you have simple calculations to do, and do it properly. Seriously, don't do it when you're tired or you're irritated. Sit down properly and just be able to do it in a rested manner. 3 and then 3, do it like that. But remember, aptitude is time. Yeah.
And I would just like to say all our previous interns have gotten bang on results as to what is it like, maybe they weren't aware of what are their interests or what is their aptitude, because aptitude and interest can be very different, but this will help you kind of merge them and identify how can you kind of combine them and see what would be the best for you, right? So please listen to Shilpa ma'am's advice, take it when you have time, but I would say don't wait for a month. Sorry, it won't stay active for that long. Do it at the earliest. I'm sure today is a Saturday, tomorrow's a Sunday. If you all are well rested today, tomorrow, you can also do one section, if not 3 sections in one day, right? But remember to take the assessment. It will help you identify what is going to be your best fit careers. All the next master classes that come your way will also kind of help you strengthen which direction should you move in going forward, right? I hope you all have understood what the assignment or the task of this master class is. It's nothing but your career assessment. What I would like to also say is next week we have a very exciting panel where we talk about not STEM but STEAM, where we talk about careers in science, technology, arts, engineering, and maths. We all usually think that STEM is different and arts is different, but this masterclass is kind of going to open up your mind and your horizons as to how is it that you can merge them if you have interest in different sectors or different areas. Right. With that, I hope all of y'all are already following the Mindler Careers account on Instagram. If you're not, do it, because we have very exciting posts, very informative posts at the same time. So all over, the whole purpose of the profile is to give you as much information so you are as clear as possible, or how much of a clarity you can get about your career. If you're a part of batch 2, please scan this WhatsApp channel. We keep sending notifications. If you need any resources, we send all of this on the WhatsApp community. If you're a part of batch 3, this is the community channel that you need to join. So I'm going to pause on batch 2 for 10 seconds. Then I move on to batch 3. So just take 10 seconds. And then I will move on. This is the batch 3 community channel for WhatsApp. So take a screenshot if you want so that you can join it a little later. If you haven't already, I actually want to open up the chat and see how many of y'all have actually downloaded the Mindler Navigate app. Just give me a yes or no in the chat if you have already. If you haven't, I see a lot of yeses, which makes me very happy. Good going, guys. All of y'all have already been doing a good job. If you haven't, Ritik has been very kind to put the link in the chat. So if you have an Android phone, download from the Play Store. If you have an Apple phone, download from the App Store. With that, I would like to conclude today's masterclass. It has been fabulous. I hope all of y'all have taken away a lot from today's session and are very excited about the assessment, because trust me, as an working professional, when I took the assessment, it was bang on. Even though it's supposed to be for students till 12th grade, it kind of got everything perfectly right. I was as harsh and truthful as I could be. And trust me, the cake answer is I would eat it. Sorry, I love cake. I'm not sharing it. I don't care who feels bad, but it's my cake. It's different. If I had multiple slices, I would share. But if there's one slice, it's mine. Right? So I am being honest. I would appreciate if all of y'all are as well, so that your assessment results are as clean and as specific to you as possible. With that, I wish you all a happy weekend. I will see you for your next masterclass. I hope you all have enjoyed this masterclass. If you all have any queries, write to us. We will definitely make sure to share it with Shilpa ma'am and see what response she has for all of you. Other than that, you can follow her on LinkedIn, on social media, because she also has some great content going when it comes to career clarity, career awareness, right? So with that, thank you so much. I hope you all have had a great masterclass. I will see you all for